Hey everybody, welcome to this lesson, and I thought that this would be extremely useful for you for a number of reasons. As stage hypnotists, whether real or imagined, there is a perception that we have stronger powers than hypnotherapists, okay? A lot of people believe this. A lot of people believe that by the reasons that we're a stage hypnotist and that we're on stage with the masses, there is a perception that therefore we must be much more powerful and much more effective than a hypnotherapist, because we can hypnotize 20 people at a time. We can empower people to do crazy things. So what happens as a stage hypnotist when you start to get established is we start to all of a sudden get a lot more traction. We get a lot more interest. And you're going to find yourself as a stage hypnotist, if you haven't done so already, you're going to find yourself getting a lot of attention from people that want hypnotherapy consultation. So one-on-one clinical hypnotherapy, call it whatever you want. You know, consulting hypnosis, consulting hypnotherapy, wanting to make effective and positive changes in their life. So we get lots of inquiries and lots of calls. I like to keep all my calls to 15 minutes or less because I want to provide them with information. I want to listen to the caller. I want to be able to see if I can work with them or help them. And ultimately, the only way I can help them is to book a private hypnosis session with them, and I can teach you how to do those as well. You don't need to do a massive, detailed, deep hypnotherapy class. You just need to know some fundamental basics that you can already learn as a stage hypnotist. So just so that you're aware, all my calls that I receive that come into my business actually all get recorded, and I can just delete them afterwards. But I record all my calls using a program called followupspark.com because I want to track the sales process from when a call comes in to issuing a contract to afterwards getting a Google review. I want to be able to track the entire process and to see if I want to improve it. But also sometimes if I'm actually promising somebody a price for a hypnosis show, or we're discussing the details and the content of a hypnosis show, or even a private, consultation, I want to have a record of our conversation, and I want to go back and I want to be able to see some of the details. So that's why the sessions are recorded. So this lesson is an example of a recorded call. This person found me online using my website, called in, and the lessons of this sort of 15-minute call is really important. So I'm going to play a little bit of this, and then I'm going to talk about it, and then play a bit more and talk about it. And the lessons are, like I said, they're invaluable. So let's listen to the first element of the call.
How can I help you? So I actually was calling regarding your services. I'm a stand-up comedian who's been in a hole the last, I want to say, 10 years. I've had anxiety. I couldn't remember my act on stage.
Okay. So let's just pause there. This is a comedy comedian, a stand-up comedian who's been in a hole for 10 years, who is stuck in a rut and suffering with anxiety and some issues. So this person really has told me what their problem is right off the bat. So let's continue.
I've had trouble memorizing movie scripts, and I had nowhere to turn to, and I've just been so I was living in New York. I'm back in the D.C. metropolitan area, and I just wanted to get my life rerouted. I'm 33 years old. I'm not too old, so I can still chase my dream. And I had a good opportunity to get an HBO special and everything, but
I want to get my life back, and I want to chase my dream. 33-year-old, still has hope, still believes, still wants to achieve, wants help with anxiety and memory and self-esteem and self-confidence. It's telling me all the ways I can help this individual.
I just have huge anxiety and stuff like that on my shoulders, so I heard you could help. I saw a clip of you on the Today Show. You did a wonderful job, and other places.
So here's one of the really important bits that he just said. I saw you on the Today Show. So as a stage hypnotist, it's hugely important to be able to get some media and social proof and social edification. It's really important that, you see, they've seen my videos, he's seen me on the Today Show, seen my television appearances. This creates this grander illusion and this grander need and the want for my services. So when you do get media attention and when you do push out there your content, it gets the attention of other people and it somehow elevates you above and beyond quite a few hypnotherapists, because hypnotherapists a lot of them don't have very good media and don't have very good presence, and this just helps you increase your brand and increase your worth and increase who you are to potential clients.
This as well, so I was optimistic.
Do you know what's causing the anxiety?
There's the golden question right there. I'm straight in there. I want to know the backstory. I want to know, in his opinion, what is causing the anxiety.
I don't really know, but at the same time, you're the third hypnotist, the most famous hypnotist I'm talking to, but the third one. I've tried 2 local ones, and
so here we go again. A more edification. He's tried a couple of local hypnotists. I'm the most famous one he's spoken to. Therefore, honestly, between you and me, I have much more credibility and much more chance of succeeding. Not because I have a better skill set, not because I have more skills, but in his mind, he saw 2 local people, and now I'm a national stage hypnotist, a national act with notoriety, and therefore I must be better. It's so interesting how the mind works.
The first one couldn't get me hypnotized. The second one got me hypnotized where I couldn't open my eyelids, but and I heard everything she was saying and everything like that, but I was still like very cognizant of everything that's going on and stuff like that. I just couldn't open my eyelids, but like I felt like it wasn't like the authentic sort of say hypnosis, like Al Roker. Remember how he had his shoe taken off and everything like that? So it wasn't that kind of hypnosis.
So this is a really important point. He's been hypnotized before, but he never actually experienced hypnosis and doesn't know what it feels like. And in his opinion, he wasn't really hypnotized, although he felt that his eyes were stuck. So the eye lock is one of the things I do as part of the Elman induction. So he's walking around not knowing whether he's hypnotized or not, but then he saw me on the Today Show and he saw the weatherman, Al Roker, have his shoe removed through hypnosis. So basically all he needs in a hypnosis session is evidence and proof that he was in fact hypnotized, and then he's probably going to believe it. He's probably going to believe he was hypnotized, because as I go on to explain to him, there is no feeling of hypnosis. So it's a huge misconception most people have. They're expecting to feel something. They're expecting to feel hypnotized, and there's no feeling of hypnosis. So there's no feeling of being hypnotized. So because they're expecting it, we have to show them something, and we can show them something as a stage hypnotist. You can show them and create some phenomenon. It might not even really be hypnosis, but if you show them something, they're going to believe it. But one of the misconceptions is that I wasn't hypnotized because I didn't feel hypnotized, or there's no evidence to prove I was hypnotized, therefore I obviously wasn't. So the massive learning point here, huge learning point, is when somebody doesn't know that they were hypnotized or not. So we get a lot of clients like this, and we have to actually prove that they were. So listen to my response. It's evidence-based, and it's important.
Well, you know, there's no real feeling of hypnosis. I mean, it doesn't feel like anything. So sometimes, you know, people don't know whether they are or they're not hypnotized, but it sounds like you just didn't have any evidence to say whether you were or you weren't. So that's probably...
No, I knew what was going on. I was trying to open my eyes and I couldn't, and I was responding. Okay. I was responding to her, like I'd say, I'm awake, and sometimes I purposely wouldn't answer the question she was asking me, just to show her that, you know, like I'm not fully hypnotized, you know?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Yeah, I do.
Does it sound like a lost cause to you, or?
No, I mean, nobody's a lost cause, but realistically, a lot of my clients, they actually, after the session, they see improvement, but they can't usually describe what hypnosis is because there's just no feeling of it. It really doesn't feel like much. Maybe. Yeah, and it's all about sort of a belief system and visualization and using imagination and that kind of thing. So I do a lot of my sessions sort of online, over Zoom, and they seem to work. Pretty effectively. The rest of it, most people feel a pretty deep sense of a hypnotic trance.
So I'm not giving him any false senses of security like this works 100%. I'm not telling him how other people feel like, because everybody feels different under hypnosis or when they're in a trance. So I'm just telling him, there is no feeling of hypnosis, and what Hollywood portrays and sometimes YouTube videos isn't accurate. So because of that, you can and will be hypnotized if you want to be hypnotized. And so now I'm in the portion of the call where he's told me what his problems are. He's told me the experience he's had with hypnosis, good or bad. He's told me that he didn't feel he was hypnotized necessarily. And so now all I'm doing is I'm doing my pre-talk that you learn as a stage hypnotist. With stage hypnotism, you learn how to combat all the misconceptions that your audience has. And all I'm doing on this call is I'm just quantifying and qualifying all his misconceptions, and I'm educating him on what hypnosis is and what hypnosis isn't.
So you said you're in the DC area?
Yeah, I'm in Washington DC area, outside, but Northern Virginia, right outside DC.
Yeah. So I mean at the moment, my office, because of COVID, was in New York City, but it's closed. So I'm kind of doing most of my sessions remotely online. You're more than welcome to book an online session. Obviously there isn't any guarantees, but it's better than probably what you're currently doing, which is not, suffering with it. So the idea of the session is you get given a recording, and the power of the magnification of what happens next is kind of in the listening to the track. I have some people listen to my tracks for years, and it almost like tops them up.
So I'm actually Muslim, and then some Muslim people, they think, oh, this deals with spirits and stuff like that, or but I don't think so. Because I have a degree in psychology, and I really don't believe it has anything to do with magic or spirits or anything like that.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with magic. It's nothing to do with. Now it is closely aligned to shamanism and sort of the old rain doctors and things like that. It was a lot of sort of placebo and belief system back then, and I think hypnosis is another type of that. But scientifically, your subconscious mind can be pre-programmed and reprogrammed. Therefore, it's approved by the American Medical Association as a viable way to treat, memory loss and anxiety and things like that.
Mr.
So once again, he's got some misconceptions, but I'm telling him, it's not magic, it's not witchcraft, it's not voodoo. Some people think it's aligned to shamanism or rain doctors, which is fair enough. Some people have a belief system that it's similar to some kind of placebo effects. And I'm giving him information about how hypnosis works online, what the booking of a hypnosis session looks like and involves. So he's still on the fence. He's not fully believing hypnosis. He doesn't think it's magic, but he's not sure. So at this portion of the call, it's worth educating him as to what it is and what it isn't. And of course, I always tell clients there's no guarantees, and I always keep the call to 15 minutes. But I answer all of his questions, but then steer him towards reserving my hypnosis services or not. So keep watching. It's pretty interesting now.
So Richard, so if someone was like, a practicing like Christian, they went to church and like every day for 20 years, could you be like, okay, you no longer believe in Jesus? Would that work or not?
So there's a big question right there. He's basically asking me, and this is part of the pre-talk that you learn as a stage hypnotist, can I hypnotize anybody against their will? Can I make people do things against their will? Like, can I have somebody who is a Christian not believe in Jesus? And that's common, you know. Can I make him do something he does not want to do?
Only if they want to believe it. I mean, if they want to believe it to be true, it can be true. But I can't take away somebody's upheld beliefs, but I can change their beliefs if they want to change it.
I mean, if somebody had a list of things like, oh, I believe that Richard could help me with, you know, not liking fast food, not liking cigarettes, having more confidence, memory, and stuff like that, and then you slipped in, oh, by the way, you don't believe in Jesus. Goodbye. Would that work or not?
No, because it would go against their moral faculty. So it would actually go against us, basically. Yeah, I mean, you have a protection in your subconscious mind called the critical faculty. So if I suggest something that goes against your upheld belief, you would actually reject it as opposed to accept it. So you would actually reject it. So if you want to, you know, stop eating candy, pizzas, chocolate, and I suggest to you subconsciously that you no longer have a craving to eat that kind of food, and every time you try to, you're unsuccessful, you wouldn't be able to. I can remove that. But then if I slipped in, by the way, you don't, you know, believe in Jesus, then that's going to go against their moral faculty and they would reject that suggestion.
So I'm helping him, you know, by explaining the critical faculty, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, how it works, how it doesn't work. I can help people with things that they really want help with, but I can't help people with things they really don't want help with. These calls are pretty common, and like I said, being a stage hypnotist, you're going to get these kind of calls and you're going to need to know the answers, and therefore it's beneficial to really learn your pre-talk and be able to answer the phone congruently and with the relevant information.
Wow.
Otherwise you would walk around
unless they were on the fence. Unless already they had like doubts and stuff like that, then maybe it would work.
Exactly, yeah. If they basically had doubts, you could potentially change their mind or alter their perception. Yeah,
that makes
sense. But more often than not, people will only believe what they want to believe, and they tend to reject, even under hypnosis. They'll reject what they don't believe to be true. They'll actually just reject it.
Yeah. So so during Zoom sessions you've done, has there been any customers who you like? It's been an unsuccessful attempt to hypnotize them, or have you had like 100% accuracy where everybody's been hypnotized?
There's only actually been one or two out of 100 or so.
That's a good percent. That's terrific.
Yeah, and normally it's the same thing, right? So there's either they just don't believe in it, so they wasted their money because it's not refundable if you don't. I can only do, you know, I'm doing 50%, and I get
it. You're evil Knievel. You get paid for that tenth.
Right. Yeah.
You don't gotta land the motorcycle. You get paid for actually trying to do the stunt. Yeah.
Yeah. So thing is, it's like, is it 100%? No. Otherwise, it would be called magic. But does it have a high chance of success? Well, yeah. Why? Well, because I'm talking to you about all the things that you're suffering and want to change, right? I'm helping you change. You've been financially burdened because the session cost you some money. Therefore, you're going to want it to work. It'd be a whole different story if it was free, you know. I'm
sorry, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
So the learning point here is he's saying, well, you know, what's the guarantee rate? Well, there's no such thing as a guarantee. What's your success rate? I don't know. Nobody does, because unless you track every single client, how can you possibly know your success? But he's also kind of asking, well, is this going to work for me? Well, there's no reason why it wouldn't. So I go on to explain to him what would make a good candidate for hypnosis, how we do our very best for online hypnosis, Zoom calls to teach them the best environment and the best circumstances for the best success. But again, I'm also sort of reinforcing that I can only make you change if you want to change yourself. But he already has that sort of belief system in me because he saw me on the Today Show on NBC. He's seen my promo, he's seen my website, and he's seen the power of the stage. So it almost makes it easy for me. But the last thing you want to do is give anybody any like false expectation or false hope. You do have to be real with people. And as he continues, and he cracks a few jokes here and there, which is good, but I'm navigating him straight back to the reason why he called.
I was just saying, you have more buy-in, so most of the time it works unless the surroundings are not conducive. So we do everything we can on our end to ensure that the your surroundings are the way we would like them virtually and online, because our office, we can control what our office looks like, and you're going to wear a face mask, you're going to wear Bose noise cancelling headphones, you're going to be hearing me sort of crystal clear. But so the online version is we work with you before the session to ensure that your environment is conducive to a hypnosis session. So sometimes people do a session and they're in an environment where their dog's running around or their phone keeps ringing, and that's outside of our control. Kids, yeah. So it is important to, we always suggest if your place at home is always chaos, then book yourself into a hotel, for a night or a couple of hours.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that, actually. I prefer to come to New York to you, actually.
Yeah, we've even had people sit in their cars, in their vehicles, because it's a quiet place, it's isolated, they go and park in the middle of nowhere and they're not disturbed.
So how long is the session? If I had like 5 or 6 things I want to knock out, including like fear of dogs, I have a crazy fear of dogs. Like if I had like 5 or 6 things I need to knock out, would that take more than one session?
So now here's the thing is that, I'm teaching about what makes a good environment for online hypnosis and how the process works. A lot of people that call, and this gentleman is no different, a lot of people that call, they say that they have 5 or 6 things like fear of dogs, anxiety, memory loss, they smoke, they want to lose weight, and all these different things. And with stage hypnosis, you really only give one person one suggestion at a time. If I ask somebody to do 3 or 4 things at a time, they wouldn't be able to do it. So on stage, when you give a suggestion, one suggestion for one volunteer. Now you can give a trigger word. Every time I say this, you do that. Or you give a suggestion to the entire group. But what you don't want to do is give people 2 or 3 different complicated suggestions, because if you do, they won't be able to follow all of them. So with clinical hypnotherapy, it's the same thing. People will tell you they have 5 or 6 issues, but you only tackle one at a time. So this is how I explain it to him.
We typically would deal with one issue at a time. So
yeah, I've been told that.
We wouldn't.
Yeah.
The thing is, the more we deal with in one session, the more it dilutes everything. So basically, it's best to focus on what we believe to be the root cause of the issues. The root cause of everything is what and why, and can we get to the source of the issues that might, because like a fear of dogs might just be a simple memory or a simple experience you had when you were a kid with dogs, or you got bitten, or maybe it's just something like that. But overarching, if you're kind of anxious, anxiety of being, of doing certain things, and it includes the fear of dogs, then it might just be the anxieties that what we're able to tackle, and everything else might actually be assisted by that one thing. But we don't do, some people ask us, I want to lose weight, I want to stop smoking, I want to remove anxiety, and by the way, I have a fear of butterflies. It's not all things in one session like that necessarily.
Okay, sounds good. So how much is a session? If I come to New York, how much would that be?
So here's the golden question. I've explained to him what it is, what it isn't. We've removed misconceptions. He's explained to me what he's suffering with, what his problems are. And now how much is it? And some people sort of hide their rates, or some people, they they want to set up multi-sessions, different pricing structures, or even some people, it's free to come back a second time. I keep it simple. I have my in-person rate. I have my online rate. I have a New York City rate just because it's more expensive to operate out of New York City. And I keep it super simple. This is the cost of a session. This is the cost of an online session, and this is the cost of a session in New York City. So when you're pricing your show, make it super simple. This is the price as a buy-in. This is the price plus hotel plus travel. This is the price if you can book multiple shows from the same client. So here's my quick explanation. I make it super simple, and then I'm almost coming towards the end of my 15-minute call with this gentleman. I keep them to 15 minutes, no matter how far down the line we're going. And so I'm now thinking to myself, I need to close the call, otherwise there's going to be too many questions. So here's the answer to the pricing.
Well, at the moment, the office is closed, so the sessions are actually just online or in Florida.
Yeah, I don't mind doing the Zoom session, but I'm just worried that it might not work over Zoom. Like, I don't mean to sound pessimistic, but I've had 2 failed attempts already,
Yeah, I mean, my experience is that it's as successful as an online. The online is as successful as in person. So some people do fly into Florida for those sessions.
Yeah, maybe I could do fly in, fly out, same day. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
How much is it for a Zoom session?
The online Zoom session is $300, and the in-person is $600.
Okay. Man, you brought your prices down. It used to be $1,000 for in-person, right?
It used to be $1,200 in New York City.
Yeah. Is it because of COVID you brought it down, or is it just?
It's a combination of things. So first of all, I'm not paying rent for the New York City location, which was very expensive because it was right there on Wall Street. Also, in New York City, I'm charging the rates that are pretty standard in the area of where my office was. So, I'm sort of comparatively similar to other services. And the sessions I do in Florida is obviously much less overheads, and I'm just choosing to pass it on to the client as opposed to, keep the same rate. So it doesn't really have much else to do with demand or COVID or nothing like that.
Yeah, so, okay, wonderful. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested, Richard, in doing a session with you over Zoom. And, definitely interested. And hopefully, so what would we be able to work out in the first session? Would we be able to work on memory, and remembering my set list, and also confidence on stage? Because I felt like my confidence just went completely out the window. Like, sometimes I'll be doing good for like 5 minutes, and then I'll just have like a massive panic attack, and people will think it's asthma because I tell them it's asthma. But I haven't performed on stage, and I can't even remember the last time I performed on stage. So I just usually write jokes now and stuff like that, and try to submit and write it for people, or whatever. But I haven't performed in a long time, so I really want to get back on stage, and that's my life dream. Like, if I could make even $20,000 a year doing it, that's sometimes you just want to do what you love in life. Like, if you could paint pictures, that's what I want to do. Like, I've been working right now the last 8 years in recruiting, so I've been recruiting for schools. I recruited for the U.S. military, Department of Defense contracts, technology, different sectors, and a 9 to 5 is not to me. I know I'm talented enough to write for like Jimmy Fallon or any of these shows or whatever, and I was actually moving up immediately, but then I just collapsed. I don't know what happened. Like, I just had trouble like memorizing my jokes. I'd have like 2-3 pages I memorized, and then when I got on stage, it would just disappear. And it got so bad, I couldn't do 7 minutes even. And I was just like, what's going on? And I'm a terrific actor as well. I could have memorized scripts. Even if I had like half a page, I could have memorized words. And like, so if we can get that back, I'm telling you, the talent is there. It's just a matter of like memory and confidence. Like, if I get those two, I'm telling you, I'm back and I'm in great shape. I'm happy again.
Yeah, so basically self-esteem, self-confidence, and anxiety kind of goes hand in hand, right? Which would improve your ability to remember your set and, you know, your scripts and things like that. So I've got to run. I have another client that's...
Oh, I'm sorry.
But you're more than welcome just to, you know, reach out with any other questions, contact Natalie.
Absolutely. And Mr. Richard, I didn't mean to keep you on the phone for 20 minutes. Sorry about that. I know you've got other clients and stuff like that, so I apologize for that. I didn't know how much...
No, not at all. I'm always happy to jump on the phone. It's just it's a busy time. I've got a lot of people stacked up to deal with. So,
you're a good man, Mr. Richard. Thank you so much. I'll
no worries.
with Natalie. Sounds
okay.
Thank you so much.
So that's a pretty standard call that you would receive. I do advertise that I will accept 15-minute consultations, calls, but as you can see, a lot of this has come from my stage hypnosis. He's seen the stage hypnotism and the promos and the media and everything that goes with that, and he's not viewing me as just a typical local hypnotherapist. I've got more attention from him, more edification. He's got a lot of misconceptions and a lot of sort of nervousness, but I've told him basically how it is and how it works, and you know what it does and what it doesn't do, and now the ball's in his court to go ahead and book the session, online or in person. And obviously, you know, the prices are pretty standard. No guarantees have been offered. So as a stage hypnotist, make sure you really learn that pre-talk, because as a second income, or even as an equal income, clinical hypnosis is really rewarding when you can help people, especially here when I can help him improve his confidence and his anxiety and help him improve his memory. And all that power has come from the stage. So I hope you found this lesson useful, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.